I've been wanting to make a coil winder for a while. I didn't want anything real complex. I just wanted something real simple. Put it together, be able to wind something, cut off the time for me hand winding it. And I think I came up with a pretty good compromise. Now, all this can be remixed. It could be added to and everything else. But this is just a real simple setup to get everybody started. Not overly complex where you get overwhelmed. Just simple, few parts, couple STL files, and you're good to go. This is when I'm first starting to wind any coil. I run a piece of tape all the way around, and then I make sure I put the wire starting point right there in that tape. Now I leave it a little bit long, and what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to tape it back in that same tape area. I'm just going to go a little bit off the edge. Now the reason for this is I need the long wind left over, but I want it out of the way so it doesn't wind up or get caught in anything. I need it secure. So as you see, I'm putting it in there. Now I'm going to put the tape back over it. And this also has a secondary purpose. The way that I built this winder, the cap that goes in there is a little loose. So when you put this tape on there, it go ahead and holds that in. Also, I put the tape a little crooked on the end, just so that I can peel it off a little easier. Now when you're starting to wind something like this, I do this by hand. I want to get the beginning windings perfect. This is going to set the tone for the whole coil. So generally I'll run probably 10-15 winds on it just by hand before I start the motors, because I think it's very, very important to set that tone, to set it right. There's a lot of stuff that'll end up loose in here, and you want to get it nice and tight. And then after that, you can start turning on the motor and get it running. But you can see I'm taking my thumb, and I'm just brushing it right over the wire, just tightening them up as I go. Yeah, it's a painstaking process when you first start, but trust me, this is nothing compared to the way I used to wind it. So I'm okay doing this. Okay, so I had to stop. Let's look at why. I'm getting loose winding. So anytime you get a loose winding or you're not comfortable with the wind, just turn off the motor. Get it right. Just take it by hand. Get it to smooth back out. And then you can get the speed back up again. The worst thing that you could do is to get this wrong and keep going. So take your time. That motor's going to help you get this thing spinning fast, but you got to make sure that these winds are tight. If they're not, you're going to have gaps in your coil, and you don't want that. So my advice to you is take your time here and get it right. Sometimes you get a cross wind because you're not using anything to hold it. You're just watching where the wire comes in at, and you're running it based on that. That's the way I do it, by eyeball. Most people use a stick or something like that. I don't want any part of that. I just want to wind it. So take your time here and get it right. Right here, I had this thing wind over itself, and that's not good either, so I had to straighten it out. Now, because I was running at such a good speed, I did not realize right away that my spool itself had come loose and started to wind around the rod. So when I did this, I had to straighten this part out, and then I immediately noticed tension in the motor. So I had to stop again, unwind that. Now, again, take your time. You're almost done with the coil. No sense in messing anything up. If you got to take a piece of blue painter's tape and put it over your coil and hold it there so that you can work on something else, then do it. Take a break if you need to. But this wind is going fairly fast compared to what I was usually doing. It normally took me about, for this size coil, hour and a half. And I think I got through this thing in 20 minutes, even though I had flaws. Alright, we're here at the end of the winding. I usually like to leave 1/8 of an inch. And for people who like millimeters, that would be, what, 2 millimeters? All we want to do is put a piece of blue tape on there, the painter's tape, so that when you tear it off, you don't have a bunch of glue and stuff and making your coil look nasty. You want to take your electrical tape here, make sure you cut it with scissors and get a fresh cut if you didn't already. You're going to go over the back side first. And again, you're not trying to touch the cap piece. And then anytime you pull it, make sure you let the tension out of your tape so that it comes out real smooth and easy. Now you're going to cut the end of the wire there from your spool, tie off your spool. This whole process is important. At this point, you do not want to unwind anything. So you can see I didn't mess with my spool until I started my tape because I wanted to make sure that it stayed there. Now, again, get it set right on the edge, all the way around. Take the tension out of it. When you get to this end, make sure you be careful. Get the tape out a little long, cut it, get all the garbage out of your way. When you pull this blue tape off, you want to put your hand or thumb right there on that wire so it does not go anywhere. Get it as close as you can so you can remove the blue tape quickly. And put that thing right over it. This takes time, guys. Don't try to, run through this part. Just take your time. You see me doing it. Make sure your tape doesn't have any buckles in it. It's nice and clean. And there you go. It's pretty much done at this point. Looks beautiful. Didn't take that long. Like I said, about 20 minutes. If you got this far with winding your coil, just be happy with yourself. Look at this thing. Nice and clean, evenly spaced, beautiful winding. It's the exact way you need to do it. The wiring on this is pretty straightforward, so I didn't draw a schematic. The board itself will have a motor in and a motor out, positive and negative. There'll be a power in, positive and negative. This is DC, so you'll need 12 volts of DC power. On the motor, doesn't matter which wire is which, on positive and negative. Because the driver goes in forward and reverse, it does not matter. Connect it in. Put your shrink tube on it. After you soldered it, you're good to go. I put a connector on mine so that I can connect it in and out when I did the wiring. You do not have to do that. That is optional. The switch and the dial will come with the board, so don't worry about that. That's all the wiring you had to do. For those of you who bought a 12-volt power source and connected it in, you're done. That's all the wiring. So, what did I do? I took a PC power source and used it. I had a bunch of old ones laying around, figured it'd be a good project to use it on. I took the 4-pin connectors that usually goes to the top of your motherboard, and I used it. I checked it with my multimeter and made sure it was 12 volts. Then I cut it. The black wire is ground. The yellow wire is positive. With those two understandings, I soldered them together and connected it. The reason I'm using a PC power source is I can always add things to this. I'm old. I need to be able to see this. So anything that could give me light, like LEDs, would be nice. Anything that magnifying glass with an LED on it would be nice. Maybe a winding counter that I want to add later would be nice. So having the availability to add that for a $30 purchase of a PC power source is completely worth it. Again, just use your multimeter to distinguish which ones are 12 volts and use those wires. One of the things that I didn't mention yet was this end cap piece. You saw that I used the coupler to connect it in. There is a bolt in there that I cut off the head of it, and then I put it in the coupler. And then once it goes in the coupler, it goes in this inset right here. These are fairly cheap on Amazon. Just make sure you get the right size for whatever bolt you use. And then all you have to do is take your soldering iron and push it in. Then you're good to go. You'll have the entire setup. In the description, I'm going to put a link for Thingiverse. You're going to be able to download all the STL files from there. Also, in the description, I'm going to put all the parts that you're going to need for this whole thing, so there's no confusion and you can buy all the right parts. With all that said, you guys have everything you need for the coil winder. If you do end up remixing the file, let me know. If you add other sizes in there for different sizes of pipe, let me know, because I need those files as well. I just haven't had time to build them yet. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and have yourself a great day. I wanted to thank everybody for watching today. If you like this kind of content, we do a live show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the main channel. The link will be in the description. Please join us, get in the chat, and have some fun. With all that said, hit the music.
The old man built. The old man built. The old man builds, the old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality been stricken from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to instead. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man